The Mukasa Tafsir.
Where should I begin when I'm starting at the end? Pursuing the higher aim, learning the meaning of every page. Where should I begin when I'm starting?
Assalamu alaikum. Sunnahfollowers presents a new class, the Muqasid of Tafsir, being taught and brought to you by Ustada lailanasheeba. Please stay tuned, streaming on all major platforms, right here on channel Sunnahfollowers. Sunnahfollowers presents a new upcoming class. Stay tuned. Sacred Bonds by Daryl Abdullah Kirk. Yes, Sacred Bonds, navigating the depths of Muslim matrimony and the family. You don't want to miss this one. Please stay tuned. Streaming on all major platforms right here on Sunnahfollowers.net.
Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulallah. I want to welcome everybody to our new series entitled Sacred Bonds. And that video that you just saw happens to be the video advertising the book that we're using for this class. And I am so pleased to announce that this book is written by one of my students. His name is Daryl Abdullah Kirk. And by the way, you can pick up a copy of this book called Sacred Bonds. It speaks about how to navigate the depths of marriage, Islamic marriage and family. This book can be ordered on Amazon. It only costs $13. The book only costs $13, and that's how it looks. And this book covers, marriage in Islam, what's important about marriage. And again, every time I share, somebody doesn't get to see it. Well, you know what, sister? I don't want to put it back up again because if I do, it's going to mess me up. But I'll do this. I'll put the, hold on. I got a thing I made for it with the book. Hold on. Where is it? I got so many things here. Ustada, the call in. Hold on. Purchase. No, that's Kareem's book. Yeah. Oh, well, guess I got to make one. Okay, hold on, sister. I'll tell you what I'll do. I thought I had. Yes, I do. Here it is, right here. Sacred Bonds. You can buy it at Amazon. The name of the author is Daryl Abdullah Kirk. The book only costs $13. And this is a great book to have. It's over 300 pages. It's not a pamphlet. I know a lot of you got a problem with pamphlets. I'm going to be honest. I'm a writer. I am an author. I don't like pamphlets either. I'm like this. If you're going to be a writer, either write a book or go sit down. Sorry. Other authors understand what I'm saying. You're not considered a writer until you write a novel. And there's a certain amount of words. In order to be a novel, you have to have a certain amount of words. Anybody can write a pamphlet. Not everybody can write a book. There's a difference between a book and a pamphlet. So I understand. But anyway, this is a book. This is a novel. It's over 300 pages. So you can buy it at Amazon. Daryl Abdullah Kirk. It's $13. And that's the name of it, Sacred Bonds. Oh, yeah, I see the little bit of the streaming. The lag. And he done got a new IP. Yeah, make sure you keep your eyes out, family, because I'm being nuked. Here we go. I told you I had a feeling. They are here find a new one real quick. All right. Okay, so inshallah, guys, today what we're going to do is cover chapters 3 and 4 of this book. And these are two great chapters because he speaks about the history and the origins of marriage. And then he compares how marriage has changed since the time of Adam and Eve, but how for us Muslims, we're still commanded by Allah to live in accordance to what he put as the guidelines of marriage. And that's what Brother Daryl Abdullah Kirk speaks about in these two chapters, chapters 3 and 4. So if you have the book, take the book out, turn to chapter 3. And by the way, please have me on your big screen TV so the children can watch and take notes. Okay, they can see better on the big screen TV. And for you yourself, you can do the same. And also have your cell phone so you can screenshot. Take screenshots of my PowerPoint. And then at the end of the class, you can print my PowerPoint out, staple it together, and then attach it to the book. So that way you have my explanation of what's being said in the book. Okay, so with that said, yeah, let me take this down. Yes, and I apologize for being late with the class, guys. I know, I'm late every day. Just have patience, please. You guys know I'm a woman and I have other issues to deal with as well. You know, a woman's job is never done. And when she steps outside of that woman's job to do what men should do, but ain't qualified to do, the men are not qualified. So she has to step in and take over where they lack. It's always going to be a little harder for the woman. So just bear with me. I'm doing 10, 15 things at one time. And it's just, y'all don't know how stressed out I am. I don't know how I'm keeping it together. Okay, inshallah, there it is. Yeah, that's the book, Sacred. Let me move this out the way so I can see. And let me move this out the way. It's so hard for me to see this Zoom. I got the Zoom room here and it gets in the way. Okay, that's the book, Sacred Bonds, Navigating the Depths of Muslim Matrimony and the Family by Daryl Abdullah Kirk. You can order the book on Amazon. The book only costs $13. And we're going to be covering chapters 3 and 4. And let's look at chapter 3. Chapter 3 focuses on the origin and history of marriage. Marriage has long been a fundamental institution in human society, dating back to the ancient civilizations. I keep telling y'all, history is everything. The Egyptians, they practiced marriage and they had laws and rules to govern marriage. Also, the Romans, they did marriage too, and they had laws and rules to govern their marriages. Even the ancient Greeks, oh yeah, Homer and all of them, they had laws and rules to govern their marriage and families as well. And in fact, for these early civilizations, marriage served as a means of ensuring social stability. It also represented economic security for the people. And it also served as continuation of family lines. You know, the ancient Egyptians, they were big on that. The pharaoh, in order to be a pharaoh, you had to have a blood. It had to be in your blood. They would even go so far, for those of you who don't know, as to marry their sister and brother. To marry their sister and brother just to keep the line, the pure of nothing but them. The Greeks did the same thing. The early Romans did too. And they often did arranged marriages. The families would arrange marriages to try to keep the bloodline good. And also they arranged marriages to create alliances between the different tribes and people, and to also consolidate power and resources. So marriage has existed basically since the time of Adam and Eve, alayhi salam. But it evolved, just like most things in life evolve. We evolved as a people. We're shorter today. Humans today are not as tall as they used to be in the time of Adam, alayhi salam. Adam was as tall as a palm tree. Look how short we are. So, the creation evolves. And marriage evolved too. It took on different forms and different cultures. For example, the Chinese, ancient China. And ancient China, marriage strengthened their family ties and preserved it too. In India, it became a way of maintaining your social status. And during the Middle Ages, that's when Christianity was all and about. The Christian church played a significant role in regulating marriage, with the sacramental nature of the union becoming prevalent in Western society. So marriage has always existed, and there's always been rules and laws governing it that man has created. And when you learn the history of the humankind, then you see that how man was able to legislate it. And that's what separates us Muslims from non-Muslims. Also, in the beginning of time, guys, for a lot of people, and still today, marriage doesn't mean love. A lot of people today think that you have to be in love to get married. Well, that's not necessarily true. Romantic love did not gain popularity until the Renaissance period. That's when romantic love gained popularity. Before then, marriage was just a way of keeping the family together, family line strong, power, resources, all of that. But during the Renaissance, that's when romantic love began, and also attitudes towards women and the role of women in society began to change too. So now we fast forward to today. In the 20th century, women's rights movements that has reshaped the institution of marriage. Now, in the 20th century, Western countries embrace marriage as a companionship of equals, not just where women are used for their position, their title, their family lineage. Now, individuals can choose their spouses based on love and compatibility, whereas before it was a power thing. But again, all of this is what separates us Muslims from the non-Muslims. Because when you look at the history of mankind, you notice that at the advent of the Prophet Muhammad in the 6th century, marriage remained the same for us under the guidelines of Allah. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Our religion, our way of life teaches us that everything we do must be in conformance with what Allah commands. Our way of life, Islam, is not just a religion. Allah gave us the guidelines. Allah made the laws and the rules, not man, to govern us. And one of the commands and laws that Allah made is marriage. The Quran teaches us the importance of establishing a peaceful and harmonious society. And it teaches us that the only way that we can establish a harmonious society is by first establishing your home. Everything begins at the home. Even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said charity begins at home. Who is most deserving of your charity? The one closest to your home. So marriage is a foundation of Islam. And there are laws and rules that Allah put in place for us. And those Islamic laws and rules never change. Those Islamic laws and rules never become outdated. And we have to honor them. Does everybody understand that? For example, whereas the ancient Egyptians, even the Romans, would marry brother and sister to keep the family lines pure. Our way of life sets up laws against that. For example, it is forbidden in Islam to marry your brother, to marry your father, to marry your uncle, to marry your nephew, to marry your stepmother, to marry your stepfather. This is known as mahram. The concept of mahram relationships, it prevents us from marrying close relatives, except for cousins, because Allah knows his creation better than we know ourselves. This destroys the tie of kinship. Subhanallah, I am your daughter. I get divorced from my husband and then he marries you. You're my mother. Astaghfirullah, that will sever our tie. So Allah's laws are always better than man's, even when it comes to marriage. The Islamic legal framework surrounding marriage ensures that the rights and responsibilities that Allah has imposed are fair and just. Does everybody understand that? And that's why we do not replace any of Allah's laws with the laws of man. All right? Now, one of the things that you learn as a Muslim is the importance of maintaining the family tie. In fact, Allah tells us in the Quran that the kinship is under the throne of Allah. And also, even when you learn about paradise and hell, you learn about the crossing of the Sirat bridge. We learn that when you go to cross the Sirat bridge on the day of judgment, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be standing on the other side of it. On his right will be truth, trust. And on his left will be the kinship tie. And whoever severed the kinship tie will demand its qisas, its justice, its retribution, and you will fall off that bridge and have to answer for cutting it, severing it. So the concept of family holds significant importance in our way of life, even dating back to the time of Adam alayhi salam and his wife Hawa. Remember, guys, Allah created Adam and Hawa, and he bestowed upon them the institution of marriage, sanctifying their union and providing a blueprint for the rest of us to follow. The Quran and the authentic hadiths reinforce the significance, such as the one I just gave you. It reinforces the significance of the family in Islam and the importance of maintaining the family ties. So that's why Allah, set rules up like the non-Muslims don't have. Okay? The non-Muslims don't have a problem violating the family ties, even in marriage, but we do. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. O mankind, fear your Lord who created you from one soul and created its mate and dispersed from both of them many men and women. And fear Allah through whom you ask one another and the wombs. Indeed, Allah is ever over you. So Allah created our father and mother, Adam and Eve, so that we could procreate, to marry and have children and try to establish family ties. That's the whole purpose of us coming together in marriage. A lot of non-Muslims today will say, why should I get married? I ain't got to get married. I could just fornicate. Oh, yeah, you can. If you don't believe in Allah, if you don't believe in the hellfire, if you don't fear Allah's punishment, yeah, you can go out and never get married. You can be like a lot of the non-Muslims. I remember one of my co-workers. She was the same age I am. I used to say to her, I asked her one day, have you ever been married? Because she had 3 kids. She said no. And all 3 of her kids had different fathers. I said, you was never married to any of them? No. I said, you're the same age I am. We almost dead. We got 1 foot in the grave. And you're still fornicating? Yeah, what do I need to get married for? We live together. You're a fornicator. That's that hadith the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was speaking about when he said, any man who dies a fornicator who Allah has blessed with a long life, and you die a fornicator, you will be raised up as a kafir on the day of judgment. I told this lady, I said, you are 60 years old and you call yourself a Christian, and your 10 commandments are the same as mine. It says, thou shalt not fornicate. I told her, you've been fornicating for 60 years. You don't feel bad about that? If you die a fornicator. That doesn't bother you that you've been committing this, violating the 10 commandments for 60 years? She said no, because of course she don't believe in God. She doesn't believe in Allah. Subhanallah. So Allah created us of different sexes, male and female, for us to go out, find each other, get to know each other, and marry and procreate. Not procreate out of wedlock, procreate within wedlock. And this verse that I just read underscores the connection of family members. And it encourages us to honor our family relationships. Subhanallah. The non-Muslims just don't get it. Also, we have another verse of the Quran where Allah says in the interpretation, the meaning, your Lord has decreed that you worship no one but him, and that you be kind to your parents, whether one or both of them are old in age. Never say a word of contempt to them, nor anger them, but instead address them in terms of honor, and lower your wing of humility to them, and say, my Lord, have mercy upon them, as they had brought me up and have mercy upon me when I was small. So again, Allah emphasizes the importance of family, the importance of showing respect to your parents, the importance of being kind to them, caring for them. So family is everything, but it's a concept that's becoming abandoned in 2024. How is it becoming abandoned? People are not even getting married. Subhanallah. And again, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam emphasized the importance of maintaining strong family ties. In fact, he told his companions, the best amongst you is the one who is good to his family and best to his family. And I am the better than all of you. The Prophet had more wives than all the other companions. He had more wives than all of them, but he was just with them. You can never be fair, because, a man only has one heart. When we talk about fair, we mean fair in your love. You can't love me the same way you love her, but you can treat me the same way you treat her in regards to my nights, the time that you spend with me, and also how you treat me publicly. You don't humiliate her publicly, don't humiliate me publicly. You have to treat me with the same dignity and respect that you treat all your wives. Okay? And the Prophet Muhammad, everybody knows that the love of his life, first of all, was Khadija, radiallahu anha. And after her, it was Aisha, radiallahu anha. But Salama will tell you she never felt less loved. Sophia will tell you she never felt less loved. Maria, who was not even his wife, She was his right-hand possession. She felt just as loved by him as any of his wives did. And all the wives felt loved by him. None of them felt slighted because he treated them all with the same respect publicly, and he was just in his time. He was just in his time. He didn't give Aisha more time over another like a lot of you brothers are doing with your wives. He didn't buy for her and leave the other women hanging with nothing. Okay? So yes, the concept of the family in Islam has deep roots in our Islamic history, dating back to the creation of Adam and all the way up until today. All of that because who are we? We are people of the book. And who are people of the book? We are people whom a book of Revelations has been sent to. And we abide by Allah's revelations. Who were Adam and Hawa? They were the first man and woman created. They didn't need a book of Revelations because they already knew what Allah expected of them. And they lived up to those expectations. And all the humans after them did up until the time of Noah, alayhi salam. So the Quran and the teachings of our Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, highlight the importance of family, just like Allah highlighted that importance with Adam and Eve. Just like Allah highlighted that importance with the people of Noah. Just like Allah highlighted that importance with the people of all the prophets. Just like Allah highlighted that importance even with the people of Lot when they deviated away from it. Okay? And these teachings serve as a guide for all who submit to Allah to uphold the sanctity of the family institution and recognize it's a blessing from Allah. Does everybody understand this? So a lot of people may ask, and I'm talking about non-Muslims. You talk to a non-Muslim and ask them, why don't you get married? What? Why should I? I'm better off without. Well, marriage serves multiple purposes. Number one, the primary purpose of marriage is to establish a loving and nurturing environment for the upbringing and education of children. No child should grow up in a one-parent home, but that's the problem today. If you look at the statistics, guys, and they have done statistics here in America of the Muslim home, those Muslim children who grew up in a two-parent home, who had a mother and a father, they cling to Islam better and more so than those who grew up in a one-family home. That's why we really need to think about all this marriage and divorce stuff. You need to take your time and choose the right person to marry so you don't end up divorcing, because who's going to pay the price for that? Your children. They'll grow up in this Western secular society messed up, especially if it's an African-American child, especially if it's an African-American male child. Because if you are African-American or a black male child, black lives don't matter. Y'all know that. Okay? So the primary purpose is to establish a loving and nurturing environment for the children. And also marrying creates a family. And a family provides guidance and support. A family can sit down together and learn moral values. Also, a family can sit down together and learn the religion. Remember, Allah says in the interpretation of meaning, your wives, they are clothing for you and you are clothing for them. Okay? Your children, they are clothing for you and you are clothing for them. Okay? So family, that means we're protection. You are to protect your wives and protect your children. and vice versa. You can't get this fornicating, living in sin, because what's going to happen? Whenever there's a disagreement, they're going to say, you don't got papers over me. You don't own me. You ain't my wife. The man can get up and leave whenever he wants. I ain't got to take care of you. I don't have to do anything for you. You ain't my wife and you ain't my mother. That's the two words that Kafirs say. When I used to work before I retired, those co-workers that were shacking up together, living together, they would get into these fights on the job, and that's the first thing they'd say. You ain't my wife and you ain't my mother, so you don't tell me what to do. And I used to say to the girl, why are you living with him? He's right. You ain't his wife. You just a backdoor rug for him to wipe his feet on. Why do you allow these men to make you a backdoor rug to wipe on? And then when they get angry, they tell you, you ain't nobody, you ain't my wife, and you ain't my mama. I used to get sick to hear that. Okay? No protection. Also, the family offers emotional and psychological support. Okay? A lot of our children here in the West, non-Muslim kids and Muslim kids, that come from broken homes, one-parent homes, they grow up emotionally and psychologically messed up. Okay? They have no sense of security, no sense of belonging. The family supports each other. The family also nurtures healthy relationships. That's why I get angry when I hear elderly Muslim women. I'm talking elderly. When I say elderly, I'm talking about women in their 70s, 80s here in America. They'll say, girl, you don't want to get married and have no cheering. You better not have but 1 or 2 kids. Have as many kids as you can, because the more that's in the family, it creates a sense of belonging, a sense of security, as long as you married. Don't put no number on it. The more the merrier. That's more brothers and sisters you got that can help you in your time of need. SubhanAllah, more children that'll help you in your old age. I only have 1 child. Not because I planned only one, that Allah is the best of planners. Allah wanted me to be a dayah. So Allah decreed that I get married and just have 1 kid, because Allah wanted me to devote my entire life to calling to his way. I understand that now. When I was younger, because I've never used birth control, I could never figure out why I never had but 1 child. But now that I'm half dead, I understand why. Because this was my thing. Allah decreed for me to be what I am, a caller. But it has its things that come with it. SubhanAllah, I got 1 kid, and that kid's a girl. SubhanAllah, she can't help me. She's trying to help herself, take care of her own kids. If I had other kids, I could get more help in my old age. So don't sit there and tell children, girl, don't have but 1 or 2 babies. I tell my Bantus here, have as many babies as you can, because they will be a blessing for you in old age. Plus, they'll be a blessing for each other as they grow up in the world. They'll be able to help each other. Families can do that. The family is a sanctuary where we can find peace, guidance, and companionship in times of joy and hardship. Also, another reason to get married, the family serves as a vehicle of religious knowledge from one generation to the next. You carry on the teachings. You carry on what you learn from your mother and father. You share with your kids, and they in turn share with theirs, and so forth and so on. SubhanAllah. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. O you who believe, that means male and female, save yourself and your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones. This verse here emphasizes the responsibility of parents to educate and guide their children in the way of Islam. And also strong, stable families are the building blocks of a healthy society. Subhanallah. The family plays a central role in the social, economic, and moral fabric of an Islamic society. Subhanallah. I was looking at something that I think about this past Ramadan. I was looking at a video that someone had shared with me of Sheikh Mohammed Saeed Atli. May Allah bless him with the best of this world and the hereafter. Ameen. I was married to Sheikh Atli for about 7 years. Our marriage didn't work out. But mashallah, I always speak nicely of him because I learned a lot from him. Like I used to tell him, as a husband, you may have been wanting, but I'll always love you as a scholar. And I mean that. I'll always love Sheikh Mohammed Saeed Atli as a scholar because his knowledge and understanding of Islam was so great. And his example. Sheikh Mohammed Saeed Atli, I used to tease him because he has, 20 children? Imam Latif got more. Imam Latif Al-Amin got, 50 almost. But I used to 40. But I used to tease Sheikh Atli because he had 20 kids. And I used to say to him, dude, you keep making all these babies, mashallah, but Lord, old man, I used to call him old man and tease him. Subhanallah, just this past Eid, the Eid al-Adha, the Eid al-Adha, one of his sons, his oldest son, shared a video. They were celebrating the Eid together. Oh my God, all 20 of those children with their children and then their children's children. Oh my God, they rented they were at a resort. They rented a place big enough that they can all stay together with their wives and husbands and children. And they showed Sheikh Atli. I said, this is the beauty of it. Here Sheikh Atli is, an old man. He's my old man. He'll always be my old man. Okay? The old man sitting there with his beard hanging down to the floor almost. And all those children and grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren gathered around him, and they were celebrating the Eid. And I just cried watching that video. I said, how beautiful. The family, it plays a central role in society. The family is the moral fabric of Islam, guys. SubhanAllah, if the old man were to die off today, look at all those sons and grandsons and great-grandsons he got that can carry on his legacy. Look at all those daughters he's got who can teach and impart to their children and their grandchildren that knowledge with the understanding of the companions. What a barakah, what a blessing that the old man will have long after he's gone. So that's why I tell you guys, don't sit around and talk about people for having big families. That's a barakah for you if you raise them right. And remember his children, alhamdulillah, all of Sheikh Mohammed Saeed Atli's kids and grandkids and great-grandkids are holding on to the rope of Islam, but they come from a two-parent home. They come from a two-parent home. They grew up with a mother and a father. Subhanallah. So don't knock it. Don't knock it. Don't knock it. Subhanallah. So the family is everything for us as Muslims. Also, the Quran encourages mutual assistance and cooperation within the family. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of meaning. Your Lord has decreed that you worship none but him, and you be kind to your parents and give your relatives their rights. Subhanallah. I look at a family like Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atlee's, all those children, they help each other. All his kids are doing good. He don't have no kids living on the street. He don't have no kids, no daughters who don't have nobody to take care of them. His daughters are married and they help each other. If somebody needs money, if somebody needs help, I can call my brother. I can call my sister, my niece, my nephew, my grandson. Subhanallah. There's a lot of benefits to having a big family in Islam, as long as you can teach them, and when they're young, give them the foundations of Islam when they're young, and they grow up with that. And that's how we lose it. A lot of us don't do like Sheikh Atlee did. His wives, Sheikh Atlee's wives, their life was the children. His wives didn't work. A lot of you young women, y'all out working. You busy trying to make that money for loose. And who pays the price? You end up with a broken marriage. You and your husband divorced. You working, trying to raise them kids. Your kids grow up around kafirs, and they end up becoming like them. His wives didn't do that. His wives stayed home. Sheikh Atlee didn't allow that. You stay home with the kids. Subhanallah, we're going to raise these children together. And also, that's something to be said for you brothers out there. A lot of you brothers will marry 2, 3, 4 wives, get mad and divorce them. Sheikh Atlee never divorced the wives that had his children. Oh yeah, he divorced the others like Layla. But Sheikh Atlee wasn't going to divorce those women that had his children. He didn't believe in that. These children are going to come from a home with a family, a mother and a father to guide them. How many of you brothers take that philosophy like Sheikh Atlee had? Okay, you will get mad at a woman and divorce her, and so that your kids grow up an apostate from Islam. You have to suck it up, make the sacrifice. Suck it up, make the sacrifice. You married her. Make the sacrifice, suck it up, and stay with her, at least until those children are adults. Then you can make your move. That should be you brothers doing that, not the women. A woman will stay with a man forever as long as he ain't beating her up. As long as you ain't putting your hands on your wife, she'll stay married to you, even if you a terrible man. But a lot of you brothers, y'all marry these women, these young women, knock them up with a bunch of kids. They do something you don't like and you divorce them. And you want to know why your kids grow up apostating. No, you stay with her. You chose her for whatever reasons. So you suffer the consequences and suck it up. Suck it up and raise those kids. Give the relative its right. Give the children their right. Okay? The children have a right to be raised by 2 parents, not 1. Give the child the right. And that's something that I respect Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atlee for. He may have been married. I used to tease him. You done had 100 wives. I used to tease him with that. I used to say, Sheikh Atlee, you've been married 100 times. But he ain't never divorced those women that had his children. Those 2 that had his kids, oh no, he ain't going nowhere. Because he got to be in those kids' life. That's why I respect Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atlee. Like I used to tell him, you're wanting as a husband, but I will always love you and respect you as a scholar of this deen. And I still do. A lot to learn from the old maid. Okay? And again, nowadays, The family concept has weakened. Individualism, materialism, all of that have weakened our family ties. Moral and ethical values have declined due to divorce, single parent household, dysfunctional families, and all of that. And then we got technology, the internet. You know, we leave our children with the internet instead of us being the parents. And as a result, we pay the price. We want to know why our children are not Muslim. Why did you have your kids in a non-Muslim school? I tell Muslims today, homeschool. Homeschool your children. Homeschool your children. Y'all know I'm always preaching that. We do have good Islamic homeschool programs, safausa.org, from kindergarten to grade 12. Homeschool your children. I tell you, brothers, suck it up. You married that woman. You done gave her 2 children. Stay with her. Suck it up. Stay with her for the sake of those kids so she don't have to go out and get a job and work. Stay with her. Suck it up so she can homeschool her children. Subhanallah. So again, you know, these are some of the things that we deviate away from. Islamic teachings of the women being at home. It's our job as Muslim women to be as the educators. We're supposed to educate our children. We're supposed to protect them and raise them, give them the foundations of Islam. And you men, it's your job to be providers and maintainers so the women can stay home and do this. But no. And of course, there's exceptions. We do need nurses and female doctors and all that. If it ain't in the medical field, like I tell the girls on my website, if it ain't the medical field, keep your butt at home. And make those children your priority. So, mashallah, this is chapter 3 and 4 of this wonderful book that my student, Brother Daryl Abdullah Kirk, put together. And I really like how he began it with the history of marriage, how he compared the ancient marriage, the marriage in the ancient Egyptians, to how it became progress to becoming during the time of the prophet and now today. So it's something that we need to think about as Muslim women and men. And one of the things that bothers me is I hear a lot of brothers telling women that when you go to imam and you complain to the imam about how you're married and your husband is not doing what he's supposed to do, these imams will tell you, the woman, to go home and be patient. That's not Islam. No, no. You're not going to find not one authentic hadith on planet Earth where a woman came to the Prophet Muhammad complaining about something in her marriage, and he told her to go home and be patient. That's not it. Instead, you'll find many hadiths where he told the men to be patient. The men to be patient with their wives. You will find many hadiths of men coming to complain about their wives. And the prophet said, no, you go home. You be patient with her. Perhaps there's something in her that you're overlooking. For every bad quality that you find in your wife, you can find at least 3 to supersede that. Those are the hadiths. So like I say, you brothers are married women, get them pregnant. You don't like her. I don't like the way she talk. I don't like the way she cook. I don't like her, so I'm going to divorce her. And now she got to raise these children by you. In America, on her own, when the odds of them maintaining the fitra of their heart is slim. And then you marry another woman and divorce her, another. You got 10 kids by 10 different women. None of them practicing Islam. You better blame yourself, bro. You should have went home and been patient with her. You should have sucked up whatever you didn't like about this woman. You should have figured out why she is the way she is, because also the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a woman is a reflection of her man. A woman is a reflection of her husband. So if she's that way, what are you doing to cause it? Why is she that way? What have you done to her to make her that way? Did you bend her too much? The prophet said, don't try to change a woman. Did you marry her and thought you could change her? You married her and thought you could mold her into your idea of the perfect wife? That's what happened. The problem is you. So why don't you change yourself and learn that you can't bend a woman? Because if you bend her too much, you're going to break her. You can't change her. Instead, look to see what good qualities she got. Praise her on that. Work with that. And then together, y'all can overcome what you don't like. But suck it up for those children. So those children can grow up in a two-parent home. And they can grow up and be productive as Muslims in society. All right. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, yes, go ahead, Sister Khadijah. Okay, this is a sister from Twitch. She said, a friend of mine has a question. She's wondering if she can marry someone that is 37 when she is 25. Okay, there's nothing in Islam that mentions an age. I mean, you can marry anybody at whatever age. I mean, you know, long as you're compatible. Age doesn't mean anything in Islam. It's all about the righteousness. If that person is a righteous person meaning that he believes La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, and he practices his obligations. He fulfills his obligations. There's no age limit. We're not non-Muslims. There's no age limit. There's a lot of Muslim women who marry younger men, and there's a lot of Muslim men who marry older women and younger women. So age is nothing in Islam. Okay, so if the person's 37 and you're 25, if he's everything that you and your guardian, that's the thing. You have to have your guardian check the person out, because women, we fall in love with the idea of love. So that's why Allah says, we're going to talk about that in this class too. Your guardian has to check the person out. If your father checks out the man and says the man works out, he's good, he can provide for you, he can maintain you, he doesn't have a bad record with women, he doesn't have a bad record, he's not a criminal, he goes to the mosque, he prays his prayers, he has his beard, he fulfills all his obligations, he fears Allah, then yes, you can marry him as long as you like him, if he has things in common with you. Okay, there's no age limit in Islam. Yeah, some of the female companions married young men. In fact, most of them did. Age was never important with the companions. Oh yeah, subhanallah. Yeah, any other questions? Any questions on YouTube? I mean, on Zoom? I'm looking at Twitch. Any other questions on Zoom? Okay. All right. Tomorrow, guys, let me remind everyone, tomorrow is Monday. And tomorrow we have just 2 classes. We have my class at 6, which will be on the book of Kareem Abu Zaid's, Diluting Wella Well Better. We'll be speaking more about implementing allegiance and disassociation in our daily life. And then also tomorrow night, we have the signs of the last hour. I will continue to go into detail about the Mahdi. Yes, that's what we're covering. We'll be covering the Mahdi, the arrival of the Mahdi tomorrow in that class. Yes, I'll have all the information, hadith, and all of that. All right. Okay, I want to thank everybody for joining and participating tonight. And inshallah, I'll be putting out some shorts tonight from Brother Mukhtar's class, Brother Hanif's class, Dr. Asim's class, inshallah. So look for my shorts when y'all wake up in the morning. They'll be all over the internet. And please share, guys. Please like and share our YouTube channel. Please like and share our videos. Please like and share our shorts and tell the other Muslims about us. Okay? We've been around since 1986. My website is not new. I was here before all the others. Seriously. I was here before Pale Talk. I was here streaming live before telephone, which is no Freetail, which is no longer in existence. Before MySpace, which is no longer. So I'm not new. Most people have heard of my website and know about it, but please share it, so that way we can try to get more Muslims to come in and we can call them back to Islam and its truthfulness with the understanding of the companions. All right. Okay. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa